Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Rami Lutfi from the Chicago Institute of Advanced Bariatrics, and we are trying to have this educational podcast series to talk about bariatric surgery, metabolic surgery, interesting maybe questions or information or myth about weight loss surgery and obesity. Uh, Today, I want to address the issue with obesity, bariatric surgery, the stigma, why people are obese, and why people do not present to have surgery that is much needed at this point. And for the longest time, obesity was seen as a personal deficiency in will or power, or at some point, people would call those who are obese, they have not only ill power, but they're not bright enough to know what's best for them. People looked at those who are struggling with this chronic illness as people who are careless, were called lazy, and even recently there's been quite a bit on the news where some people debated that shaming people as far as body fat could be a motivation for them to get up and exercise. To really understand that, we got to really understand the physiology of excess weight and the different fat composition and what is fat. And I want to try to summarize this in just a few minutes so people can stay awake. Obesity is a very complex disease. It is, in fact, a disease. Now, we must remember that if a human decides to stop moving and eating excessively and have a lot of sugary drinks, fatty food, perhaps certain high caloric intake of alcohol, people will gain weight. So diet and behavior and activity for sure play a major role in gaining weight and also losing weight. However, obesity itself is a disease. It is now proven to be a disease. It is called a disease here at the US and most countries. It is by our National Institute of Health and Medicare defined as a disease, just like any other disease state, such as diabetes. And obesity really is very complex, and we even don't understand it very well. But it's a mix of genetic, environmental factors, and epigenetic. It is something that some of us are prone to have just by our family history, and everyone who's looking at this or listening to this can relate with him or herself or others that they know that it runs in families. And also, those who don't have the genetic predisposition to obesity could have the epigenetic factors where the way the genes are expressed and the way we grow up, and certain factors that make us prone to obesity that are in many ways beyond our control. Again, I want to emphasize that I am not saying that diet and exercise and behavior are crucial in what weight we are or we are going to be in the short term, but in the long term, our body mass index, which is really our weight according to our height, is very much determined by many very complex factors, such as genetics and also hormonal and chemical composition. With that being said, because obesity is so complex, weight loss is even more complex because the body is designed to resist a drastic weight loss. And this is because in the past, long time ago, really no one was obese. People worked very hard, food was different, and a lifestyle was different. The genetic pool was different, and a weight loss in the old days was always a sign of something going wrong. Poverty, war, national disaster, insult to the body, severe illness caused people to lose weight, and it still does. So the body always battles drastic weight loss in order to prevent those who are in starvation because of poverty, war, or the factors I just mentioned. They cannot just fade away. So when we lose weight, the body has a lot of these protection mechanisms designed to protect those who are vulnerable and losing weight as a result of one of these adverse events. Having said that, those mechanisms for those of us who want to lose weight, they become obstacles for weight loss. So when you are a 5'6" as your height and 283 pounds, and you do diet and exercise, and you lose weight, you lose 50, 60, 70 pounds, and you're down to 210, 220, you feel great, and you want to keep that weight off. The problem is you just regain that weight when you start either starving yourself or doing excessive exercise that's not realistic to be sustainable. Weight Watchers, Jenny Gregg, South Beach diet, all these diets, they work. They work very well because they do limit the caloric intake in a very well designed way. The minute you stop this very controlled regimen and just eat normally, meaning back to your baseline, that weight is gonna jump back up. If you're trying to lose weight to fit in a sexy dress to go to a wedding on the beach and starve yourself for a month and lose 18 pounds and go to that wedding and come back, you're not coming back to eating a lot. You're excited that you lost 18 pounds. So you just, though, do not want to be starving anymore because you're done with that wedding, right? And you fit in that dress. But you have no intention to regain the weight, but you're going back to eating, and that food will get you to regain, and usually you regain more than you lost. And that is what's going to happen with people who call that yo-yo diet. So the reason for this is when you lose drastic weight, like we said, those protective mechanisms are activated, and now your metabolism is slower, your hunger is higher. Not only the hunger you feel emotionally, but the hunger as in a feeling that is controlled by chemical stimulation to the reward centers and the hunger centers in the brain. Believe it or not, hunger and satiety are not just feelings or emotions like falling in love. These are very strictly controlled by chemical and hormonal stimulation in the brain. So when you lose those 18 pounds and you're done with that wedding and you go back to eating, you're just gonna eat more, not because you're not smart enough or you don't care about your health, but rather because there is much higher stimulation in your brain to consume more because the body wants to bring you back. So this terrible cycle where you feel trapped as someone who suffers from this disease, losing weight by working so hard, and the minute that slows down the effort, you regain more than you slowed down. You do that yo-yo diet, and always you lose, and then you regain a little bit more, then lose, then regain a little bit more, and with time, you end up overall gaining, and that is just terrible. So, two hormones in the brain that are going against each other, ghrelin, that goes to your brain, say eat, 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 and that's hunger, and leptin, the hormones say, oh, you're great, I feel great. These are hormones. So you wake up and you're feeling great, and you don't eat, but you're used to eat breakfast, and an hour or so later you're hungry. You're just hungry, and that is the ghrelin level going up, telling your brain you're hungry. So you pick up a croissant or a donut or a bacon, whatever you eat, and you eat it, and that ghrelin level will go down. You're no longer stimulated. And of course, that's a very simplified, rather, example. But obesity is complex. Weight loss is more complex. Losing weight will alter the balance of these hormones, and they will all be changing towards driving you as a person to consume more in order to go back to that baseline that the body see as the baseline. You don't want that to be your baseline, but it is your baseline. In bariatric surgery, for example, we try to alter the anatomy to alter the sources of these hormones, the stimulation, how food is processed, to cause different changes in the hormones. And this is why we call bariatric surgery today metabolic surgery, because it doesn't just work by forcing you to eat less. Certainly it does decrease the storage, making less food give you that pleasure of early satiety, but also it alters the metabolism, alters the way we think about food, the way we process food, and the way our brain is stimulated to seek food or to decide not to seek food. Many of my patients will tell me, Doc, I never liked healthy food. I never liked broccoli, and I don't like broccoli myself, honestly. And they tell me, after my gastric bypass, I'm just drinking a lot of water. I feel great. I have to remind myself to eat. And you know what, Doc? Now I eat broccoli. It's great. So there are changes in eating behavior that follow changes in our hormonal composition. And, we'll talk more about surgery, diet, exercise, but those who believe that people with severe obesity are just have a weak decision making to do better. They're lazy. They're unable to control their destiny because they don't want to. These things today, with all the evidence, all the science we have, we should just truly not think at all this way. Being severely obese is just a terrible thing. It's a very complex disease, screws up the metabolism, and really it does a lot to prevent any drastic weight loss. So it's really very hard on those who are trying to lose weight. So I hope this started to shed the light. I want to try to do more of these so we can learn more about obesity in a simplified way, as I have dedicated my whole professional life to help those who struggle. Thank you for listening.